Welcome to the White Bear.
Let's address the elephant in the room.
All right, James. Go ahead, man. I already fucked it up, so this is.
All right, welcome to the White Bear. I am James, and you're here with my partner Zach. And we've been on a little bit of a hiatus, so we decided to do a spontaneous podcast.
Spontaneous as fuck. We literally put this together in like 30 minutes for you guys.
Exactly. Like it was actually spurred on like our anger, so it should be an interesting episode.
This is true.
Yeah. But what's been up with you?
Oh, I just been working here for the summer, doing my research, making space dust, that kind of thing.
Making space dust. That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's not as fun as it sounds.
Oh.
It's kind of cool though. Like it'd be more cool if I had like any control over anything that was going on, but I'm working directly under a postdoc that's really bad at communication, so it's just sort of a mess. But also, he's kind of like a weird, annoying savant of some kind that just like pulls stuff out of his ass. So it's been stressful but interesting.
Yeah, it's always interesting being able to kind of sort of learn from someone that's kind of a genius, but also frustrating.
Yeah, hilarious too because he's like, I think he's just a bad communicator in general. Like it's hard to tell because there's like a language barrier.
Oh, okay.
I also think he's just got an aloof personality in general. And besides that, he's Chinese, so it's like Chinese to English is like a notoriously hard transition, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's dude, it cracks me up. Like you've seen Archer, right?
Yeah.
Like the pirate episodes where they keep bringing up the idiom joke because like the pirates don't understand idioms.
Yeah.
It's completely true. It's hilarious. I'll say shit like all the time and not even realize I used an idiom, and he just like fucking stares at me. Like, I don't know what you just said, dude.
Yeah. It's interesting because like in uh, B school, undergraduate B school, we kind of had to learn how to bridge gaps between like cultures because business is becoming more global by the day, and like dealing with Asian countries is much different, pretty much, than any other country in
Right.
that respect. Just because their learning style, the way they're brought up, is like just so direct. It's just different. So like things like sarcasm
Yeah.
goes right over the head, But yeah,
Yeah. It's interesting. Probably a good experience though. It's a
yeah,
pretty harmless environment to be dealing with all these issues in.
yeah, and good practice.
Yeah. That's what if you didn't know, academia just moves very slowly and very lackadaisically.
Hmm.
It's very, very shockingly different from the work world.
Yeah, that's
But
what
what
I.
about you? Oh, go on.
Oh yeah, that's like the huge difference is like the pace of academia, and
Yeah,
like
it's
it's much. I don't want to say it's harder than work, but like I don't know. Work just comes natural for like humans, I think.
yeah. In some ways it is, in other ways it isn't.
Yeah.
Definitely. What about you? What you been doing lately?
Man, just working, not today, but working and like waiting and waiting. Yeah. I can't really go into details on, you know, the new job, but it's just been a long process and it's like not even halfway there. So, yeah.
James is gonna be a spy or something. I'm not sure. He won't tell me.
Uh, Not a spy, my friend, though that would be cool. But
A
yeah,
counter
so
spy,
like,
an anti-spy.
yeah, yeah. So like, I knew people who were like in the similar situations as me. Though I won't think about I don't think it'll take this long, but they waited like over a year for
Oh, really?
to
Dang,
get
that
the ball
sucks.
rolling. Yeah, but I was
At least
given a
you got something
shorter
to look forward to,
timeline.
I guess.
Huh?
At least you got something to look forward to.
Yeah, yeah. I was given a shorter timeline, so hopefully, the ball gets rolling. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, yeah, that's about it, really. Just keeping my head down, grinding forward, all that. Putting in the work, no short roads to success, which I guess is what we're leading into today.
Hmm. Here we both are, just millions of cells just floating around in the cosmic winds.
Yeah, you didn't have to go all spatial on us, but yeah, that is true. We are just a speck of dust in the grand scheme of things, which I've gone into
Unless, unless you decide you're not going to be normal and you're going to be extraordinary, James,
that is very true.
with your system.
It is about creating a system, I will say, but I guess we'll get into that later. But
That's true. There's a difference between a system and a system.
yes. So
So, first on the docket,
I think we had some masculinity talk down or manliness, I think.
yeah, we did. I think this is a important thing to discuss right now. So I get the impression with all the weird stuff about things like incels that are like popular to talk about because that one guy, or no, I guess two now because there's the car thing in Canada and then the school shooter.
Right.
It's like I get the impression that for some reason everybody just wants to blame this idea of traditional masculinity, whatever that is to you, for like all these problems in society related to aggression.
Hmm.
And I kind of think they're severely mistaken because most of these problems result from like a misunderstanding and distortion of what that traditional model is.
Right.
And as someone who I like to think I try to follow that, it's frustrating to me to just like sit there and listen to people shit on something that I don't really think they even have any idea what they're talking about or any actual experience with it.
No, yeah, I agree. I think a lot of it comes with like having something to kind of place like frustration and anger on, and then kind of
Right.
the mob mentality kind of takes over. But yeah, like number one, I don't think anyone has a clue like what the hell they're talking about. Like unless you're in the like in that situation, I guess. Like you can say like you're empathetic, but like it's kind of hard to really actually put yourself in that person's shoes. Like you can try to understand. I don't
Yeah.
think a lot of people actually like get it. But I just think like it's easier to blame like hyper masculinity right now just because of like our climate and like
Yeah.
who's in
Well,
the
that's
White
weird too.
House.
Like because all these people kind of like gas bag themselves up, and there's a lot of that around like Trump, like he's gonna go get it done, like.
Yeah.
So people kind of like create this like build this story up in their heads that like that's what masculinity is. It's like no, it's not. It's never been that. Like those types of people are just like gas bags. Like those are the people that fucking Joel and I kill on prime time. Like you know what I mean? Like it's just, that's not it.
Yeah, they're
Like,
fucking
they have no emotional control. For example, as just one aspect of it.
yeah. I mean, they're
Yeah,
like posers. I guess I can't. I can't find a better word because like
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
yeah,
The best way to put it.
yeah, because like I don't know. There's, I mean, maybe it stems from some sort of insecurity that those types of people have. Um, I mean, usually it does. Like, I don't know what's a good example. I mean, I guess you could use Trump. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he just wants to be, you know, known as this world-renowned businessman, and um, he'll never be like Jeff Bezos. So,
Yeah.
how do you kind of pose? You market yourself to be something that you're not. You take every route you can to kind of put on this front and gain this power and try to be what you think people think is cool, I guess,
Yeah.
you know? But
So then I guess you could say we kind of have like two problems here that sort of play off each other. I think that we could generalize.
mhm.
One being the number of people who, and well, you can't completely. You can almost like break it into men and women with the two different things, but there's also men and women in both parties. But like so on the one hand, we'll just call them the Trump people. That's probably the easiest way to just generalize it, right?
Yeah.
They're like gas bagging. They have the wrong idea of what masculinity is. They think they
Hmm.
have the right idea, and they evangelize the shit out of it. And then you have the other group of people that don't like that, that think that's what everybody thinks masculinity is. And so instead of like actively rooting out what it really is, they just accept that as that form, and they try to like tear down the whole social construct, I guess you might want to call it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think either of those things are good. I don't the corruption or the destruction of it.
Right. Like, there's definitely, like, what annoys me is, like, these people who don't like to be labeled and kind of put in this box. We'll call it the left end of the spectrum,
Hmm.
who claim they don't like labels and like to be boxed in, but like that's what you're doing by, blaming masculinity for the world's
Yeah.
problems.
Well, that and too another thing, right? Your lived experience is a much more common refrain and sentiment from that side of the spectrum. And like so, like me as a white person, I shouldn't comment on like you as a black person or anything about your black experience, right? Or
Right.
I should at least be careful about how I comment on it.
Yeah.
And yet, like maybe women or I don't know, men that I would just consider beta males, not trying to be a dick, but I don't know like what other word to use right now.
Mhm.
Like they comment on this and they don't really have that experience, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Like wouldn't comment on the struggles of uh, woman in the workplace because that's not something I've had like that I know what it's like. Like I would like I can be careful about how I
Yeah.
comment on it.
Like
I'm
yeah,
I'm
I
not
think
just
there's
gonna.
a middle ground that probably depends on like who you're talking to and what the situation is. Like I don't know if it can really be generalized to
Mhm.
like a golden rule or anything,
Right.
but yeah, like it's just, like it's a similar thing. Like why don't men get that get afforded that privilege when this conversation's happening?
Yeah. Mm. Yeah. I just think they're just. I mean, there's always progress to be made, I guess, and you know, it just it's frustrating having to be put in that box, but I guess it's something that everyone deals with. I
Yeah,
mean, especially like just specifically this year in terms of being a male, whether it's a not to make male struggles seem like the you know, the
Yeah.
same struggle as like a minority struggle or something like that. But it's kind of taken off a little bit this year. Wow.
Yeah, I think like male problems are more passive instead of active, or maybe like negative reinforcement of the problem instead of positive reinforcement of the problem or something. And by that I mean like things with like women and minorities or whatever. Like there's things they deal with that are like actively causing them problems, like dynamically, and the
Mm-hmm.
stuff with men is more like nobody really cares that men are disproportionately sentenced in prison, right?
Right.
And so it's like there's problems that exist that nobody wants to do anything about instead of there being problems that are actively being created. There we go.
Yeah.
I suppose since we keep referring to this golden goose of actual masculinity, we should probably try to define that a little bit.
So yeah, I was thinking about this earlier, and like I actually just like in our notes just wrote down like the Merriam-Webster definition, especially
Mm-hmm.
because like as I was like thinking about it, I was like, what could you actually define it as? What would you define it as? Not to dump the question off on you, but
Um, I don't know if I could like. It's not really like a one sentence thing. Like I don't know if I could give it a definition.
right.
It's like so maybe instead of defining uh, what I think it is, it'd be more appropriate to define the umbrella it covers, like something akin to like American exceptionalism. Well, what is that? Right? Like it's this big topic that's got a lot of different things under it,
Hmm.
and it's like hard to just boil it down to like a dictionary definition.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think boiling it down that far wouldn't be doing it justice anyway. But I just think just I would kind of define it as like you know how like you have your cultural identity,
Yeah.
like I would say masculinity is like an identity. I wouldn't even say like specifically for men, but you know,
No, yeah, I know what you mean. Like if we're gonna like okay, I mean I guess like I don't want to say live in this world. That's not right because I mean it is like a reality in a lot of ways. Just
yeah,
like right, everybody's different and kind of manifests themselves in different ways.
right,
So like in that sense, if we're gonna live in this world and normalize that more in the discourse instead of kind of this binary thing we have going on, then nobody should be bothered if they're not like the man's man, right?
right.
And then like a woman could be a man's man.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine. I don't know. Like Joan of Arc was probably something like that.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I really doubt that she would have done what she did.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't like read a ton about her, but or if she's got writings or anything like that. But yeah, you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah,
'cause that's what. At the end of the day, I mean, a lot of a lot of it is or a lot of the things that fall under that umbrella make you like a good leader and warrior, which is probably where the whole thing stems from, right?
right. Yeah, and I just think it's I just think like it's I don't know, it's just a good quality to have whether you're a man or a woman or not, but like
All right, sorry about that, folks. We had some technical difficulties. Our shitty free platform must have bugged out on us. We're
yeah,
cheap and equipment, so
it happens. We still got to, kind of work on I keep saying I'm going to do it, but we'll get a better way to do this. But soon.
almost 1 year since starting this, and we're still working out the kinks.
Yeah. Has it been that long?
I think we started it last August because it was the kneeling shit. Remember, that was the first article.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
But
almost at a milestone, James.
what'd you say?
Is it almost at a milestone?
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
But all right, you were about to make a point about something.
If I remember correctly, I was uh, just talking about how masculinity is just, we're born the way we're born. If we try to like over teach something like that, it kind of, I don't know. I'm not gonna say backfires, but I think that's kind of the case where you see some of the hyper masculine males who try to be something that they're not. You know?
Yeah, um, but I think again that's like more of a problem with like false, corrupted things, like the youth football coach that is screaming at kids and stuff. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, and I guess a lot of it's like who's teaching these lessons to you,
Yeah.
right? And like so one that really grinds my gears a lot because it's just such a low hanging fruit that people just like swing at all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like why aren't boys allowed to cry? It's like never in my life, not once ever, has anybody ever told me that I shouldn't cry. Like I've just had lessons imparted on me about not even suppressing my emotions, controlling them,
Yes.
which has a lot of value. Because number one, how you're acting affects people around you and how they're going to act, especially if they don't have good control over their emotions.
Right.
Number two, it allows you to keep your own focus and perform better in whatever it is that you're doing.
Exactly.
And number three, I personally think when you can harness certain emotions, it's really powerful. So, like, if you can get a handle on like your anger when you're in that mode and you're like real stressed out and just like need to hurt things, right? Like, depending on what you're doing, like that can be a really useful tool.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you know as well as I know that, for example, I mean, we played one of the most violent sports on the planet, you know?
This is
And
true.
like this is just a like lighthearted example, but I mean there are things that happen between the lines of a football field that are gonna piss you off. You're gonna have that guy across from you that necessarily doesn't, I won't say play the game the right way, but just annoys you and it'll piss you off. But losing control of your emotions in that situation isn't gonna help you. So you focus
No.
them into something within the confines of the game that will help you out, like lighten his ass up or something like that in a very legal type of way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or even if you're clever, you can flip that back on them and get them pissed off,
Yeah,
and then bait them, and they'll get a penalty because they don't have control over themselves.
exactly. Or you can go low, take his knees out, and end his career. No, I'm just kidding.
Fuck his career.
Yeah.
Doesn't need one.
Yeah, but no, I think there's a like value in 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 that lesson for sure, and it's not something that, like, again, like you said, kind of in the same boat. Like, I learned a lot of my behavior from just like kind of observing my dad, like a lot of
Hmm.
sons do. Um, and like my dad never taught me like, oh, don't cry or whatever. I mean, it's just like it came from like an observation of just seeing him as like a good parent and the way he handled
Yeah.
certain things, you know, and just picking up on those types of behaviors.
No, I agree, and that's what it's like. There's like a big balance to it. 'Cause it's like people always like to bring up the emotions thing, like, oh, guys have to suppress their emotions. Like, I don't know where you got that idea from. That's not the idea.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Right.
That's only one aspect of this whole umbrella that we're talking about here.
Yeah. Yeah. There's
If you
nothing
want
that has ever explicitly been said to me that was like, boys don't do that. Unless I
to,
was
yeah,
so young and it got drilled in my head 1,000 times that I can't remember. But, you know,
yeah, that's what I just don't. I don't know where people get these caricatures from, man.
right. And a lot of like what I learned, not necessarily from like anger, but this is kind of just funny, is that like my first couple years like wrestling, like
Yeah,
I was like terrible because I was so young. So like I started when I was like 4. And like when I lost, all I did was cry and I like didn't do anything. So like I like just learned like
yeah, right. Like, well, that's not helping me.
yeah, that's not helping me at all. So but yeah, like stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. I will say, actually, you know what? One time I was told not to cry, but it wasn't. This person that told me it was completely right. It was senior year in high school. I tore my knee like the second game of the season,
Hmm.
and so I was just like sitting on the thing on the sideline, like not really fucking like crying, but just like with my head down and shit.
Yeah.
And then just like one of the assistant coaches came over, he's like, "Hey, don't let him see you like that, because like the whole stadium's watching." I was like, "Oh, you're right. I don't want to project that image of like sadness onto the entire crowd."
Yeah. Yeah. Which again goes back to keeping your emotions in check because you know that like the people around you could be influenced by
Yeah,
that.
or my team for that matter, right? Like we're playing our rivals, and they're just better than us that year by quite a bit, and we're only down, I think, one touchdown when that happened.
Hmm. Yeah.
We ended up killed, but that's okay.
Yeah, it happens, man. But yeah, yeah, that was a good dive into that.
Other important things. Oh, here's a great one I see all the time too, because it's like people like link sexual harassment with masculinity, and it's like I don't know where you're getting that one from, because I feel like any, we'll just say, manly man who's worth his salt is like gonna stick up for a girl in a bar or something if like some guy won't leave her alone, right?
Right.
Like, right? Like, am I wrong there, or
No,
am I missing something here? Like, where does that connection come from?
yeah, I think there's a connection between masculinity, or there's a like false connection between masculinity and like douchebaggery
Yeah,
because
I agree with that, because that's like the mansplaining thing too.
right.
Like they act like more guys probably do that than girls, but like, yeah, that's just being a douchebag. Like,
Hmm.
and then that one annoys me because then it's like you got to like think really hard about whether or not someone's gonna like be looking for that. You know what I mean? So there's like times where I think you might want to say something, but you don't, or you do say something and someone like takes offense to it because they've already got that like on their mind,
Right.
and that's like totally unfair to accuse somebody of that just because they're offering an explanation or like responding to something, right?
Yes. Yeah. I've always felt like I know when like being condescending doesn't mean you're mansplaining. It just means you're kind of a douche, you know.
Yeah,
And like when you
I just avoid phrases like "well, actually."
yeah, yeah. And then like right, it does kind of just make you cautious to like want to explain something to someone, like just actually
Yeah, right.
just being genuine. But
Maybe that's good. I don't know.
yeah.
I don't see how it's good to stop yourself from potentially you being wrong and learning something, or somebody else being wrong and learning something. Though
Right. Exactly.
I'm not sure like how that's productive.
Yeah. But I think uh, yeah, that's pretty much all I need to say about that. Like, it is counterproductive in some ways, but the other ways, the condescending ways, is just that person being a douchebag. There's not really an excuse for that. But like
Yeah,
everyone does it though, which is also frustrating.
yeah, that's true.
Mm. But again,
I just hate it when I hate it when things are like attributed to one group when it doesn't need to be because it's just something universally human. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like I don't know, you do that for all kinds of things. Like the mansplaining's one. I saw a big thread with like I think today maybe where this African American woman just like was just made a big thread of like all of her experiences of being in like coffee shops and getting cut off by white women basically in line. And
ah,
I was like, well, I mean, like maybe that was because you're black, but I feel like that probably wasn't it. It's probably just people being animals
yeah,
because that's what they do.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
or even like if you want to take it as extreme as something like the horrors of colonialism, like that's totally important to learn about because people need knocked down a peg. Like your society is not as good as you think it is.
Yeah,
But also at certain times when it gets like not always like because in a lot of ways that is like a unique phenomenon because Europe was the first area to have the technology to do that on that scale, right?
right.
Um, but I think it's weird when it's like framed in a way where it's like this is an explicitly white people thing. Like for me at least, it's like, well, I don't know about that.
Well, no, I mean it's not. It's just they called it something different. Like, I mean, Genghis Khan conquered half of fucking the world, well, the known world.
Yeah, isn't that weird? He's not really looked at as a hero, but he's like revered and he killed like as many people as Hitler just as cruelly probably,
Hmm.
and started the Black Plague kind of.
Yeah.
I think the Mongols did. I don't think he did, but the Mongols definitely did.
Hmm. But like, yeah, I mean, it's just looked at, and I mean, you can go on even on to like the African continent and look at the Egyptian Empire and the empires of
Yeah,
West
for
Africa
sure.
that
Yeah, I
enslaved.
was gonna say the great West African kingdoms that were selling people into the slave trade,
Exactly, yeah.
which like I guess that doesn't get talked about a lot because it's like if you're talking about slavery and colonialism in the West, and then you just bring up like, well, what about the people selling them? And it's kind of just like most of the time in context in the conversation, it's like used in an obfuscatory way.
Yes, yeah. But the fact, like, you know,
But it's still happening, right. Like it's important to acknowledge that everybody sucks. I think while also trying to deal with the specific instances as they happen in time
yeah, yeah.
or something like that.
Like, I'm not, like, I will never minimize the, you know, slave trade in terms of from like, so like European slave traders um, bringing slaves to the colonies and specifically the sugar colonies. The French and Spanish sugar colonies were awful for
Yeah,
slaves, like much worse than the.
I don't know what the Spanish were like total dicks. I don't get that. Like why?
Yeah, they.
Like the Spanish in general, I'm pretty sure were like way worse for
Yeah.
some reason.
Mhm.
The way they like conducted their business.
Yeah, so like in the sugar aisles, the French and Spanish would literally like use slaves like machines. So like they would run them at full capacity
until they just like died.
until they died, so they would have room for the next ship of fucking.
So it was basically a gulag, except they were producing something.
Right, exactly. But
God, how many fucking different types of death camps have existed in the history of mankind?
yeah,
Holy shit, we suck.
we're pretty fucking terrible as a whole, you know.
Damn, dude. I'm just like thinking of them all just in the last like 200 years, just running through my head right now.
Yeah. So fucked.
Yeah, we're straying a little off topic here, I think, so we should come back out of this dark hole we've fallen into.
Yeah.
I think so. We were talking about like what makes masculinity. I think an obvious one is like physical fitness, but I think we should save that one for last because we're going to talk about diet and stuff.
Yeah.
So another one that I think belongs in there as well. It's a little bit tied into that. Like when I think of like a competent man and what masculinity is, like you have to be like the embodiment of the warrior poet. Like you have to train your mind, right, and your body.
Right.
So I guess the mind would be a good one to focus on.
Say that again. I missed.
I was just saying the mind would be a good one to focus on then now. And then if you have any other things besides the four that we mentioned then, like his pillars, I guess you might say pillars of masculinity,
Yeah.
then we can talk about that before we get to fitness.
Yeah, I mean, everything starts with, discipline, which is,
Of course.
um,
That's a good one. I think that's a pillar all on its own.
yeah. I mean, you know how some people will say, like, waking up in the morning and making your bed so you can start off, like, accomplishing something. But I think that more so lends itself to just having that discipline. Like, something simple like that is a good first step to
Yeah,
forming a pattern of, like, discipline in the morning, which
right.
leads into the rest of the day.
And that's the important thing too. Like if you got to think about everything like a series of feedback loops, right? So like if you have that donut for breakfast instead of like some eggs and spinach, then you're gonna like go a little step back.
Yeah.
And if you like keep allowing that to concatenate on itself, you just keep going back and back and back. In the opposite corner, you wake up, you make your bed. You don't feel like lifting, but you go do it anyways. It's a shitty workout, but you still did it. Like as you keep doing those things, it's just gonna keep getting better and better and better and better.
And yeah, so why, if you were to, like, why did you like lifting at like 6 a.m. when we were in school?
I mean, it was a good start to the day, right? Like it makes me get up. I'll have to lift. That makes me feel good. I'll lift better in the morning
Yeah.
because I'll have more energy. I'll be up early enough to eat breakfast because otherwise I'd probably sleep in until I had class.
Mm-hmm.
There's like three things I'm doing there, right, that are helping me
Exactly, and it
be better today than I was yesterday.
exactly. And it all started from that like discipline of waking up in the morning. So like you had
Yeah.
enough to just just kind of that one task kind of leads into another, which leads into another, which ultimately
Yeah.
forms like this group or this kind of path of like good habits on a daily basis.
Yep. And then I mean, just go look up successful people. I promise you, every single one of them wakes up at like 5 in the morning every day. Doesn't matter who's The Rock, Arnold, two obvious examples that come to mind because they talk about it a lot.
Yep.
But even other people, like I'm sure like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos do.
Oh, absolutely.
Tons and tons of good NFL players and other sports, right? They're in the facilities before the sun rises.
Yep.
That's just what successful people do. Early to bed, early to rise, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, discipline is really important. You listen to Jocko podcast at all?
I may have heard seen. Are there clips on YouTube?
Yeah, they make like little clips and stuff because he like says intense shit all the time.
Yeah, I think I've seen some clips on YouTube.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty legit podcast. I don't listen to every episode because like sometimes it's just kind of like the same thing over and over again a lot of the time. But they do a lot of really good ones, a lot of historical ones too, where they talk about like atrocities and stuff that are really good. But uh, Jocko is a former Navy SEAL commander,
Mhm.
and he was like the commander during like the height of fighting at Ramadi in Iraq.
Shit.
And so he was he was like in charge of like all the uh, task force tasks task forces that like all the famous SEALs were in. You know what I mean? Like Chris Kyle was under him. Other guys whose names I can't think of. But you know what I mean? Like he was in charge of it all. He's like intense as fucking legit, and that's all he ever talks about is discipline. He's actually got a book called Discipline Equals Freedom. I own it. It's pretty good.
Is it now? I have to pick it up.
Yeah, you should check that out though. But that's what I think it's interesting then if you've never heard him talk and you bring up discipline, because I mean that's he fucking hammers on that and he's right. Like
Yeah, it's just, and like, of course, there's a reason why like that stuff's hammered in by the military because
yeah,
it works. Like, you know, it's not like, oh, do what you want and you'll feel great. I mean,
yeah, you're right.
it's like do these things in this manner and it leads to success. You know, which I guess discipline
That's
leads
right.
into you having a system, but not like a system you buy. It's a system that you made that works for you. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not even like it is a system. I don't really think it's bounded though. Like it's not structured. It's because it's just right at any given moment you're gonna have a decision to make,
Right.
and you can make like a disciplined decision or not one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, okay, I'm gonna get up early. I'll get up early. So what am I gonna do? Well, I could watch TV or I could like read a book,
Yeah.
right? And like that's just you're just gonna keep being faced with these choices throughout the day, and it's about making more of the choices that you know will make yourself better than the ones that you know are actively not destroying you, but you know what I mean.
Right. Exactly. Because there's no playbook to life. You know,
Yeah,
there's no
and
eat.
and that's why it
Yeah.
works because it's not like so I'm like, oh hey, buy this product and do this workout, and you know your life's gonna change. It's like no, like it's an endless warpath that you just have to go down and keep fighting on, and that's it. Then you die.
Yeah.
that's pretty much what it is.
Pretty much. And like, I mean, your success. I mean, my high school football coach, which I'm sure it's just like a giant cliche, but like you think about, and I think Coach Paul uses this reference, but you think about it like building a house or whatever.
Yeah,
Like discipline's the foundation. Like,
absolutely.
yeah. So whether you fucking add rooms or whatever you do, however tall you make your house, like it's not toppling it if you have a good solid foundation. And like,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's definitely important. And it's like I can't stress enough, and like not until recently, I never did this with school. Right, I procrastinate all the time.
Mhm.
Some I don't know. I'm pretty smart, like not genius smart, but smart enough to like keep a 3 with minimal effort, right? And so then not until I started doing grad school here did I really start trying to do that in school. And I mean, it like works, right? Like there's a lot of times where I don't want to write a report or do this homework or whatever. And even if I know I'm going to be distracted and doing a shitty job at moving slowly, if I just like make myself sit down and start doing it, it's like amazing how much faster it gets done than if I just like wait and wait and wait and wait and wait.
Yeah. I mean, that's like how I am with like cleaning.
Yeah.
Like
And then
once you
like
start it,
yeah, and I would say like, and then as you like, okay, so let's just go to weightlifting because that's probably the most easily uh, the most able to be visualized example, right?
right?
So like, all right, you wake up early, you don't want to go lift, you feel like shit, and then you just go, you go get a really bad lift in, and it sucks. Then, okay, so you do it again the next day. And maybe you feel a little less shitty. The next day, you feel a little less shitty. Then if you keep doing that and you just keep making yourself go a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further, all of a sudden, I think I want to say Hainline would say, like you're not just like in the weight room doing the lifts, you're attacking it, right?
Yeah,
Like you're actively getting better.
exactly.
Which that always killed me. Like during football, like just random people on the team would just be like, "Oh, well, I'm not just like strong like you, Zodi." It's like, no, I go in there and I I attack the weights, right?
Yeah,
Like you put 185 on the front squat, I put 250 on there, even though I know it's gonna hurt, and it's 6:30 in the morning. Like, you know what I mean? Like you keep having to stack more and more and more, even if you're gonna fail. Like it's not a big deal if you fail.
exactly.
That means you push your muscles to the limit, so they got stronger.
And I think a lot of kind of just going back to masculinity, and I'm happy you said that about failing and kind of not necessarily knowing you're going to fail, but you don't know if you're going to fail until you do it. But like one of the signs to me of like a mature form of masculinity is doing something even though you might fail anyway. So like,
Yeah,
and that helps build this base of, it just adds to your foundation having a quality like that.
yeah, right. I don't know. I feel like I want to say courage would be a part of that pillar,
Hmm.
but that's not all of it. 'Cause there's like something else in there that I can't think of the word right now.
Yeah. uh, Excuse me.
I don't know, Zen or something.
Zen.
Like a combination of courage and Zen. 'Cause you have to be willing to take the step to do something, and also not be worried if the consequences don't go the way you want them to.
Right. And just being able to, you know, deal with the consequences.
Yeah, that's I think perfect example of that. Being able to confidently approach a girl, get turned down, and just like gracefully not like be perturbed by it.
Yeah. Just,
Right?
yeah. I mean, like, but actually, can you like tuck your masculinity because it's showing? Okay.
What?
Yep.
Me?
Can you tuck your masculinity because it's showing? Okay.
You talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to
Dude, I can't even do that one. Like I'm not good at that.
you.
Just saying, like I think that's a good example because it's hard for people to do.
It's because you're an engineer and you're awkward.
Oh, is that what it is? Fuck you.
I'm kidding.
I thought I had a good example there. You dick.
And it's a
Nobody's gonna listen to this anyways.
stop saying that. You're the reason no one listens. You keep putting that out in the
What?
atmosphere.
Like I keep fucking up our chi. Is that it?
Yeah. Everyone listens.
Dude, I got a lot of chi right now. I went to restorative yoga last night. Thank you very much.
Jesus Christ. How's your stiff ass doing yoga?
Carefully.
Very carefully. Because, like, your
I
flexibility
need to, dude.
isn't.
No, dude. Actually, so I went home last week for Connor and Bernardi's weddings or whatever,
Yeah.
and like I drank like every day, and I've just been drinking too
Nice.
much in general. And so,
Wait, hold on one second.
like,
Just in case he
what's up?
listens, shout out Connor D. Because I missed his wedding.
Oh,
I got
hell
invited.
yeah,
I had
Connor.
I,
Oh, go on.
I had travels the following weekend, so I couldn't make it. But
Yeah, yeah, Connor. It was a great wedding. I'm glad you got married.
yes,
Anna's lovely.
she is.
I'm sorry I got so drunk at your wedding.
Are you going to Brian's wedding?
Fuck no.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm just kidding, Brian. I love you, but no, it's gonna be in the middle of school, and it's like extremely expensive for me to buy a ticket and board my dog. So
Yes. Yeah. Fair enough.
I'm like half in credit debt right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like it'll be fine by the end of the summer, but I just had like a bunch of expenses here.
Yeah. Well, it happens. You got to do what you got to do. You know.
Yeah, not that big of a deal. Take a tiny little credit hit,
Yeah.
clear it away.
But
And speaking, okay, so there's a good example. Like, speaking of discipline things, not that I'm going to do this, but like, if you're disciplined and you know you're disciplined, you can put something like that in, like, you put yourself under that kind of financial strain, knowing that you will responsibly make up for it, right? Like, if you need to in an emergency, like pay a bunch of money for something, right?
right.
And so, in that sense, it makes you calmer about the whole situation.
Oh yeah, 100%. And like again, like of course it all connects, but you have the emotional fortitude to not freak out in a situation like that. Partially lending itself to like the foundation of discipline that you've imparted upon yourself. So like
Yeah,
it all kind of comes full circle. But yeah, I definitely feel like I mean that's honestly where a lot of like lack of discipline shows for a lot of people is financially.
and finances, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Finances and food.
Yes, food, yeah. I mean, I love eating and I love eating out, but like it's just so much cheaper to just go grocery shopping.
That's something, yeah.
But
It doesn't feel like it sometimes though. Like sometimes you go to the store and you buy like stuff for a meal and you spend like $25. And you're like, what the fuck?
yeah, yeah,
But then you sit down and think about it. You're like, well, I guess I can eat this for like 2 or 3 days.
yeah. You got a coupon.
Yeah, that's true. That's what the meat I buy is usually decided by what's on
Yeah,
sale. Same with the
yeah,
fruit.
same here.
So I think I guess physical fitness is a good thing to swing into here. The final pillar, insofar as we've identified them, then we can talk a little bit about diet and nutrition and what we think and witch doctors and how snake oilsmen scam people, things like that, which is what started off the emergency podcast.
Yeah, it's like physical fitness is like huge. Um, just because like not only like does eating good make you feel good, but like you know how we say football look good, play good. Like
Yeah,
it is like crazy what the wonders of what looking good. Not to sound like shallow or like vain, but looking good makes you feel great. So
it does.
yeah, like I am
In it,
currently like horribly out of shape, but I'm working
uh,
on it.
dude, you gotta bust out that Hainline
Yeah,
workout. Not to fucking toot my own horn or anything. 'Cause it's been happening for less than a week since I decided I was gonna be sober for a little bit here, but I've been doing fucking 2-a-days with the Hainline summer workout in the morning at like 6 in the morning, and then jujitsu at night.
yeah,
Minus last night when I did yoga for my 2-a-day because I'm in pain right now.
yeah,
But it's, dude, like I actually, so like because I really subscribe to the fucking, like, I want to say it's the Greeks might have been like the first written uh first people to write this idea down, but like the healthy body, healthy
hmm,
mind thing. And so that's why, like, I've been lifting and stuff ever since my neck healed and I've been done with football and stuff. But then I started doing these again with like all the supersets and like the sprints and stuff. I'm just like, holy shit, I have lost so much. I didn't even realize it.
yeah. That's like
It's like a wake up call. Like how easily you just like this specter just like starts dragging you down and you start going backwards. Then one day you wake up and you're 245 and you're like, holy shit.
no. One day you wake up and you're 245.
Because you can't eat any carbs.
Yes, that's true. Which also kind of sucks because I like being heavy. I like being over 200 pounds.
Yeah.
So hard trying to keep something.
Yeah, that is frustrating. I tried that keto shit for a little bit. I don't know how people do that, man.
Yeah, you almost died.
I gotta be. Well, it's not even just that. Like, because like my friends that do it are trying to tell me like, no, you get used to it. Like, you'll feel way better. You'll have way more energy than you did when you were eating carbs. And it's like I just did it for a few weeks. Like, yeah, that's bullshit. Like, I need to be on that Dwayne Johnson diet. I need those glycogen stores. I just got to stop eating like shitty sugar and just have like whole grains and
Yeah.
vegetables. Like,
Yeah, and that's like one thing that people like you don't just get carbs from like bread. Like there are carbs in fruit and like
yeah,
stuff like that.
like people they really need to like like the fact that we consider like carbs from white bread and carbs from like milled seeds and grain bread the same is like in the lexicon is like wild
Yeah.
because they're not even remotely close to the same at all.
But yeah, but like just talking about like diet and nutrition, um the second like just below looking good, which I guess it kind of leads into looking good, but eating good, you feel
Mm-hmm.
so much better as well.
Oh, 100%.
Like
That's what, so. I mean, just as an example, like I wasn't eating like shit, but like along with the sober thing, I was like okay, I'm gonna clean up my diet more this week
mhm.
too. And so then like Tuesday or whatever, yeah, because I flew back Monday evening. So then Tuesday, I go to wake up in the morning, and I can like barely get up enough to grab the pre-workout that I pre-mixed the night before, so I can wake
Uh-huh.
up. Just like I can barely get up just to grab that and drink that. And then like even just after like 3 days or whatever it's been of doing those 2 days, and then eating a little bit better. Like this morning, I'm like waking up and almost on my own, like before my alarm, right? Like can sit up fine, grab my drink, and get going. And it's like it's that feedback thing. Like you just keep doing the right
Right.
thing, and it gets easier and easier.
Yeah, and it's remarkable the type of like adjustments your body makes, which kind of lends itself to like getting it, like you said, like you woke up like on your own. Like you'll
Yeah,
once you like establish that routine, I don't know, it just kind of like you said, it's like a feedback loop. It like just it's just
yeah, dude. It just like starts going and going, and then like the thing that I hate that trips me out, especially since it's just like not really something I've had to experience until like recently, really, because I've been ever since I hit puberty, I've been doing sports and been in great shape. It's like how much your body adjusts when you start getting in worse shape, and you have no recollection of how you felt before, and no way of like comparing them
yeah,
relatively. And so until you like start to climb out of that hole, you don't even know you're in the
yeah,
hole.
which is like crazy, but like also comes like you have to have like a certain level of self awareness, like a healthy
Yeah,
level of self awareness. Kind of just I don't know, not to sound weirdly like philosophical, but like not lose kind of who you are. You said that specter kind
yeah,
of just drags you down, and you just kind of forget, and like your body's quicker to forget than your mind is too. So like, you know,
that's what I'm starting to get. I'm getting into like what do I want to say, Zen or Buddhism or something a lot. Like not religiously, but just like mindfulness in general. And I've been reading like lots of samurai shit and stuff.
hmm
Real into that, and that's like kind of that. Like you train yourself to detach more and pay attention more.
yeah,
Because I mean, that's what you're saying. Like with self awareness, like that's hard. Like I'm like I'm not sure 225, 230 right now probably. I can't weigh myself anymore because my new house has a slanted floor.
uh,
But like yeah, when I first moved to Colorado, I was like 245, and like you just don't think about it, because like I still have this image in my head of I'm like me, right?
yeah,
And then it's just like one day I'm just like in the bathroom and I like finally like see myself in the mirror. I'm like, ugh.
right.
What the hell?
Yeah, that's how I was like yesterday.
Yesterday.
No,
You're like, you know what's really good for that too, actually? Like when somebody takes a picture of you and posts it somewhere.
yeah,
Because you like don't see yourself that way. Then you see yourself in a picture and you're like, is that me?
right. It's kind of like how we
Man,
forgot,
I
like how
got a fat face all of a sudden.
what?
Like I got a fat face all of a sudden. When did that happen?
It's kind of like how
I want my credit so big.
it's kind of like how we forgot like how big Dino got,
Yeah,
and then
right.
looked back.
Like he was gigantic. Sorry,
Yeah,
Dino. You were big.
it was freaking huge.
Like none of that weight was getting carried in his calves.
And it still has
So
it.
he had the upper body of like a 300-pound person.
Right. This guy's like, and I don't understand. Like, sorry, Dino. He's special forces, so I'm assuming he like rucks on a daily basis, and
Mm-hmm.
somehow his calves look smaller. I don't know. I don't know what's going on over there.
It's just genetics.
Yeah.
It's the polio,
Yeah.
man.
I hope he gets into some super secret program that allows his calves to grow.
It'd be awesome.
Because I kind of need it.
Make him into a super soldier.
Yeah, Captain America, but only for the calf. Give Chris Evans calves. That'd be great.
I will say, you do got to feel bad. It wasn't really his fault that he got that big. I mean, it was, but
Oh no, yeah.
like the coaches are like, hey, play D line, and so he did what he had to do to get to the size he needed to be to play D line. And they're like, hey, fuck
Yeah.
you.
And then like he lost the
It's
weight, and they're like, "Oh, we're short D tackles." It was like
like, yeah.
super fucked up situation. But yeah, what else we got?
Yeah, we got through everything. Just any other things about diet or fitness or anything you want to share, talk about, cry about, since we're men and we're allowed to cry.
Yeah,
Um,
I just think like clearly I'd place a higher importance on like diet because of my situation, but like
for sure.
just feels great to just eat healthy because we see like shit. It was just so much Mountain Dew and jalapenos.
Man, yeah, Mountain Dew. I haven't had a Mountain Dew in forever.
Me either.
I wonder why.
I haven't had a Mountain Dew in like 2.5 years. I wonder why.
You ever want to commit suicide? Let me know and we'll get like a 2 liter and I'll spike my 2 liter with fentanyl. We can have a pact. That way you get killed by the sugar and I'll get killed by the drugs.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'm sure you. Well, yeah, you'd probably die from that much fentanyl, but
Doesn't take
that
much.
doesn't. You trip out for like
Dude,
a
that
good
shit
2 seconds before
crazy.
you let.
I saw something the other day, like that shit is getting everywhere. There's like somebody I know from high school who's like really into
Mhm.
EDM, and so they go to festivals all the time and stuff. And I like saw him retweeting something about this festival he was at because there was this girl selling cocaine at the festival, and the coke was laced with fucking fentanyl.
Jesus Christ.
Like at one of these like happy-go-lucky EDM festivals where everybody just usually does psychedelics, and there's fucking fentanyl there. Like it's crazy.
That's wild.
It's just everywhere.
It's because it's not like regulated in China and they just ship it here.
Fucking Chinese. We gotta we gotta tariff the fuck out of them.
Yeah, why not? Besides the fact that like, you know, it'll fuck us over, but why not?
Yeah, it's weird. That'll be a conversation for a different podcast. Trump's been up to a lot of stuff that we have not commented on.
Yeah, it's wild.
What do you think of like some of the diet fads lately? So like we already talked about keto. There's like carnivore, like veganism. Like all these diets are kind of gaining in popularity because of that thing where the sugar industry turned out to be kind of like the tobacco industry.
Mhm.
So fat's like better for you than people thought it was, but for some reason people take that to mean that you shouldn't eat bread or something weird.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I think it's like, I really don't care what people eat. Like, I have like my preferences. I just don't want
Mhm.
people to push their veganism or gluten freeism on me. You know,
Yeah,
it's just like it's fine that you don't eat meat or anything, but like I like the way cow tastes, so I'm I'm gonna
yeah,
I'm gonna keep eating that. But like I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's very important to like have a decent diet, but I'm not gonna force anyone to do it. Like it's kind of like the truth commercials with smoking.
oh dude, I hate
Yeah, it's like
those.
we have enough access to information today that people didn't want
If
to
people know
smoke,
it's
they
bad.
wouldn't.
No, yeah, I agree with that. And then that too, like diet too, I feel like is definitely very much catered towards what you are trying to do. So like for example, I said I hate the keto thing. I don't like that at all.
Hmm.
Like I need those complex sugars from my fruits and my whole grains so I can power clean and push press and stuff and not feel like shit.
Right.
But like my friend that like convinced me to try it, like he played football for Muskingum, quit maybe his junior year, ballooned up to like 310 pounds or something.
Hmm.
And so he like and he's just unhealthy because he stopped working out after that and stuff and he just needed to lose
Yeah.
weight, which keto is great for. And now he's like 180 pounds.
Yeah, that's wild.
And he looks really good. Like he was never below 200 in high school, I don't think.
Damn. Yeah, that's just yeah. I mean, again, like we're individuals. Right? I mean, like
Yeah,
you do what works for you, and maybe I'll try it just because just out of curiosity. But like, I have like
yeah.
my routine and like what I do that works for
That's
me.
what.
So,
Yeah, I will say too. Like, there's like a lot of stuff about nutrition that we pretty much know, but it's so hard to properly isolate the variables.
hmm.
That what I really don't like is like one person likes the carnivore diet, another person's a vegan, and they like cherry pick data to be like, well, actually, yours is really unhealthy and you're gonna die, and mine's optimal for human health.
Right.
It's like, well, I don't know about that.
Yeah. And like people, like I mean, I have a friend that like only used to eat candy. Another friend that like used to eat junk food all the time, and like they're still not over 200 pounds. So like,
Yeah, that's like Derrick Rose used to eat fucking like he used to eat so much candy the Bulls punished him like when he was good Derrick Rose.
yeah, they should have kept letting him eat that candy. That was his vibranium.
Maybe it made his knee
Yeah,
weak.
it's really funny. But yeah, I mean, as as long as like, I think there's a lot of room for people to improve on like what they eat, but um, just eating good feels really great. It's just like what it boils down to. And I think there's something to be said about like I did say like we all have enough access to information, which I like, but like specifically in the like African American community, like a lot of things are there's less access to things.
Right.
Like Whole Foods is really expensive, clearly, but um, like I think there's progress to be made on like that front of like getting healthy foods in places where they're less prevalent,
Hmm.
and that's just for like the long term like health of the country, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. Nutrition's important.
Yeah,
Obesity is a giant epidemic, and people are more concerned with fat shaming for some reason,
yeah, it's just
which is
weird,
very strange to me.
very strange.
See, that's another one I don't get either. Like somewhere along the line, people started projecting their own shame as like confidence and blaming other people for shaming them, when really it's never been okay to like be a dick to somebody because they're fat. Like nobody has ever thought that was okay.
Right.
Right? Like you've always been an asshole if you're gonna act like that.
But it's almost like the ultimate Jedi mind trick.
Yeah, it's weird.
Because like now, like doctors, well, I don't know because I'm not really a doctor, but it feels like the medical community is like kind of like not really coming out openly and saying that obesity is terrible, not as much as they used to, just because of that.
Yeah, no, it's unhealthy. Like it just is.
Yeah.
And the one that I really hate too is like well, actually, more of your weight's genetic than it is controlled. Like, okay, so if I'm supposed to be 200 pounds at my most optimum form,
Yeah.
and 60% of my weight is genetic, that means 40% of it is not, which means I can range from 120 to 280 pounds of my own volition.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of room to play with.
Exactly. And like, I understand like no one should make anyone feel terrible.
No,
But like if you cannot operate to the most basic standards of human life, like walking,
yeah,
like I'm sorry, I'm very sorry, but something's got to change. And I'm not saying you
or
got
like,
to lose 1,000 pounds or
or
whatever.
like you get mad because the images shown in commercials are all like completely unobtainable body types.
Yeah.
Like, okay, these people are in like the 1% of the 1%. Like, why can't you just appreciate beautiful people? I don't watch the NFL and get pissed off because I'm never going to be able to play in the NFL. like, how are those things different? You know what I mean? Like, I could never be that.
Right.
I can't be AJ Hawk,
Yeah.
Miles
Exactly.
Garrett. I don't want to watch Miles Garrett be himself.
Yeah.
It's unfair and it hurts my feelings.
But,
Something like that.
yeah.
Maybe I'm just being an asshole.
No. I totally. It's just frustrating to a certain degree. Just from
Yeah,
like,
everything's frustrating. Everybody's frustrating.
because like, and not to be like, not to seem like less emotional, but like, I like our species, and like, you don't want to get in this mindset of letting things trend into a negative direction, you know?
Right? Like if we think of our species as an individual, it's like exactly what we were talking about before. We're just like we slowly get a little worse, slowly get a little worse, slowly get a little worse. Then one day we wake up and we're like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, exactly. You got anything else?
Um,
That'll put us to like an hour and
yeah, I think the discipline part we were talking about in the middle was good.
yeah.
I'll just quote that Jocko fellow since I really like his work. Just say discipline equals freedom.
Oh yeah. And freedom equals America.
That's fucking right.
Caw-caw! That was an eagle. It's a
Do they
terrible.
make a car noise?
No, I think it's more of a screech, like a scream.
Just some terrifying, blood curdling cry.
Very terrifying. Have you seen an
Oh,
eagle before?
yeah, dude, I get shivers every time I think of like a predatory dinosaur and realize that really like they're descendants of birds.
Yeah.
And so then I think about like how much scarier does a bird move than a lizard moves.
Yeah.
Oh god. I just think of a giant lizard with feathers moving like that.
Right.
Screeching, just coming for me. There's nothing I can do. Fuck that, dude.
Do you hear that? Like, most dinosaurs had feathers, where they were
Yeah,
tiny
I think
or.
that's like isn't that like consensus now?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Because yeah, they found one like frozen in amber. They found dinosaur feathers
Yeah.
not that long like a couple years ago.
Yeah, it's so cool.
That is dope, dude. Like, they're so much scarier than if they're birds and if they're lizards.
But yeah, man. I think that's all I got. I'm just gonna end it with be disciplined.
Hell yeah.
Start with something small, and it'll start to snowball. You'll see exponential returns. Don't get discouraged if something doesn't go your way. Just make the disciplined decision, and that boils down to life, diet, relationships. Um, yeah.
Yeah, just act your day out in the manner so that you'll be better the next day.
Yes, sir. All right.
All right. Talk to you next time.
Yep. And please like, subscribe, and share to our 5 listeners that continue to come back for some reason.
Now who's bringing the bad juju in the sky?
Wow. Share with 5 of your friends, and they'll share with 5 of their friends, and they'll share with 5 of their friends. Hopefully, it works like that. But yeah. All right, man.
Signing off.
Signing off.